What
Sure.
would you say kind of took you from initially when you first passed the seven-figure mark? What would you say it took to be able to do that?
Well, I think that step one is you need to find a competitive advantage. And I think that's what gets lost in the translation with many entrepreneurs because everyone's going to say, work harder, work harder, work hard. It's always about work hard, but
Welcome to 7 to 8, our special series on 7 to 8 figure entrepreneurs. In this special series, I interview $1 million, some $10 million, and even some $1 million business owners who uncovered their twists and turns in their entrepreneurial adventure in order to help you to avoid the potholes and stick to the fast track. Welcome now to Center Stage, our next special guest. Hey there, peeps. This is Michelle Nedelec, and I'm super glad that you're here with us today because I'm here with my most amazing guest, Ben. Ben, thank you so much for being here with us today.
thanks for having me.
Awesome. So give everybody the highlight of who you are and what you do for business.
Sure. So my name is Ben Camille, and I'm the CEO and founder of Travel Defend. We're a travel insurance brokerage concierge.
Love it. How did you get into travel insurance?
Right. So it's an interesting story, actually. I used to run luxury tours for about 17 years. And really, it was kind of COVID related, I guess, as COVID kind of came in. That really walloped us as, many people in the world, but obviously in the travel industry, it's a killer. And I knew as we were kind of coming back that without travel insurance, we probably weren't going to be able to sell. I mean, we were doing super luxury. I mean, we're talking $1, $2, $3, $400,000 for a week for a family. So like really super high end. And so I started researching travel insurance, and I was really focused on who actually pays these bills. Like, how does this actually work in real life? And we started kind of creating that network and knowing who pays the bills and understanding how it worked and starting selling it to our own clients. And then we went to all the different, competitors in our niche. I said, look, you guys are in the same boat. You need help with travel insurance, which they did, obviously. We helped them. And eventually we stopped doing tours and just went straight into doing travel insurance. So that's the basic idea.
Wow. Okay. One, you got to back up the bus a little bit again because the whole luxury travel side of things. Like to
Sure.
me, to spend $100,000 on a week, I kind of get it, but I'm kind of going like, why?
Mhm.
Like, why wouldn't you just buy a house and stay there and go where you wanted to? And
Right.
and do these people really need insurance? Because they just cancel their flights and whatever, and life is grand. So give me kind of a little bit of background. What's going on for these families, and how did what you do help for them?
Well, when you book a tour or a cruise or something like that, if it's an expensive one, for example, it doesn't have to be, but if it's expensive, then there's all this non-refundable trip cost. And so if something happens, which you can go into what it would be, you could lose your, let's say, if we're talking 100 grand, you can lose it, right? So even people that can afford paying 100 grand in a week, they still don't want to lose it. Okay. They're still very mindful of
Fair
that.
enough. Yeah.
Also, certainly if you're leaving America, there's all these medical concerns that you got to look into. Like, what if something, God forbid, happens medically? Many of these are families. When I say 100,000, it could be, 15, 20 people involved of a family group. It's not necessarily one person. So the point is you have kids, you have elderly people, everyone's nervous about this kind of stuff. What if something happens to grandma a week before and we can't go? No one wants to lose their money. So that's kind of where we came at it in terms of travel insurance helping. But travel insurance does so much more, but that's a good starter.
Nice. I love it. Well, and it brings up a good point too, that if they were renting a yacht and just doing that for a week, that then that company has to then go and find somebody else to take out over for that week. And that'd be a short notice kind of event on their side too. So when you're
Right.
working with your clients, what kind of, when you did your research, what did you find as far as kind of who needs it the most and who's wanting it?
Well, I guess we typically, and doesn't mean we have to, but typically we work with the luxury market. Typically, as people get older and they have really expensive trip on the line, they're very concerned about travel insurance. Everyone that leaves America, as I mentioned before, should have travel insurance for medical coverage. That's a fact. I mean, I'm very paranoid here. I mean, you just work here for a week, you'll see what goes on because we have thousands of clients. I mean, we see people. We just had a man 2 weeks ago in the Caribbean who had a stroke. He was 81. He needed to be medically evacuated. It was over $800,000 situation. I mean, he almost died. So the point is, we're very now well versed in these situations, how to handle them. But
Mhm.
anyone leaving America, just for medical, what is it? $100? I mean, it's not expensive. I'm saying just for your benefit, whoever's listening, that's important. And if there's a trip cost you want to protect, then you can. You don't have to, but you would have the option. That's where the costs really go up in travel insurance because it goes by your age, but then how expensive is your trip is a big factor here.
Well, and I would also think what you're doing on vacation would be taken into account, because obviously somebody that sits at a desk all week and does relatively nothing and then they go on holidays, they're going to be doing fun stuff. Yeah.
To a
And
certain degree, I mean, right, most policies won't cover anything they call quote unquote
right.
dangerous.
Yep.
Like if you're climbing mountains or if you're deep sea diving past certain levels. They call it, the example they give is running with the bulls. Like if you're doing dangerous things, it wouldn't cover you. But really, for most active stuff that people do, it will cover you. Even zip lining, things like that should be fine.
Right. So when you're working with kind of the insurance that you're doing, is it simply cancellation insurance? Is it the health aspects of it? Is there other things that are included in it?
Well, again, what makes us unique is that like
Mhm.
when you go to AIG or you go to Allianz, go to any of these companies, right? You don't really know what you're buying. And Allianz, for example, will have, let's say, two options to offer you. When you ask a question like that, like what do we have everything? I mean, we have access to every policy that exists in America, right? So whatever someone particularly needs, like we do a lot of skiers, and skiers would require a special policy built for skiers. And they don't know that. They don't know where they should find that and all the stipulations of that. And so we have this really down to a fine science depending on the client. But that's why it's important to call. That's why what we do is special.
Nice. So I would assume when you're talking to people and they're going, "Hey, I'm going to Switzerland," you're like, probably going to be some skiing involved in that trip, as opposed to when you go on online and you're just like, "Hey, I just need travel insurance."
Could be, sure. I mean, that everyone's case is so different. I mean,
Mhm.
we speak to people who do all sorts of different things, and that's why to have one option from one company, like you go online, it may not be primary coverage, it may be secondary coverage. I mean, we can get very deep into this, but there's
Yeah.
so much nuance here, and
Mhm.
that's why it's important to really figure out what's good for you. What's lost in translation here is that it's not just what's good for you on paper. It's
Mhm.
what do you do in real life? You actually have a problem with most of these companies. You try and call, you'll talk to some Filipino guy, meaning you want to actually, I mean, we can call even the CEOs of these companies, right? So we have a lot of power here to in this world.
Nice. So what would make it kind of that cataclysmic kind of moment that we are talking about, that you want to be able to have that kind of breadth and width to the services that you offer?
Well, I guess a good example would be what happened in Israel on October 7th. This terrible situation because we had at that time, I think it was around 4,000 clients in Israel just at that time. And we have
Wow.
a lot. We do thousands. I told you we have a lot of volume here. And so everyone starts freaking out, reaching out to us. What am I going to do? They would need flights out. If you remember, the US government was trying also to have, special flights out because many of the airlines just stopped. And so there was some private planes that were needed by certain clients. I mean, it was really crazy. There was some hospital stuff as well, and definitely hotels as people need to extend their stay until they could figure out what to do. Um, a company that is a 24-hour assist company that works with many of the travel insurance company called Robin Assist. We know the CEO of Robin Assist. We have his personal cell phone number. We have the personal numbers of all of the leadership team there. And so we reach out to them. We get all of our clients priority treatment and get them out. And that's things that if you don't know what you're doing, it can be really tough.
Right. And I would think in this environment, especially lately, more and more when even when an airline, files for bankruptcy, that would
Sure.
then falls into place. I mean, there's a certain level of unpredictability now in travel that has not been there in the past.
Oh, for
Certainly not in the
sure. It's
last 50
crazy.
years.
Yeah, there's something in the water, something going on, even since COVID.
Mhm.
Because sometimes when we started this, one of my business partners, he didn't want to join. He said, no, this is not good. It's not going to work. Obviously, he was very wrong about that. But what we realized is that we thought maybe it was COVID related. Like, people will buy because we just had COVID and everyone was in that COVID mindset. Now that we've kind of gone past that, it's not slowing down at all. People are still super scared, super nervous. And I don't know if that's going to go away. I kind of hope it does, even if our business suffers from it, but I just want life to be great and normal.
Mhm.
But I think it's in the psyche. You travel, you should buy travel insurance. I think that's just in the psyche now.
Well, absolutely. I don't think I've ever taken a trip outside of the country without having travel insurance. Just because you never know what's going to happen. I mean, there was, and I think the reason that this happened was once upon a time, and I think it was kind of mid 80s. I had a cousin that went surfing in Hawaii and broke his spine. There happened to be the surgeon on the island that
Oh,
happened
geez.
to specialize in this. But they
Scary.
also wanted to see that there was 100 grand in the bank account before he'd do anything, just to make sure that all due process could happen and take place. And
Sure.
that to me was kind of paramount of, it's really inexpensive to have travel insurance, and it just doesn't make
It's
sense not to.
scary. I
Well, you
know,
never
it's
know what's going to
frightening.
happen, right? Like nobody plans a stroke, nobody plans a heart attack, it just kind of
Yeah, I mean, we
happens.
had someone in trying to remember which country it was, maybe Chile or something like that, where he had a collapsed lung and he was just my friend. He wasn't someone, a client. And he went to the emergency room and they basically said, okay, give us your credit card or else we're not going to help you. And he didn't have enough money and he was really stuck and he had to actually wait till he got back to America to get treated. But I mean, he was a young guy, in his 20s, but that's so dangerous. I mean, it's crazy.
Well, and it's so is there a reason why people kind of give you that they wouldn't have insurance?
Not people that call us. I mean, because mostly
Yeah,
here it's inbound calls. So,
right.
we sell probably 90+% of people that call us, and we
Mhm.
get a lot of calls. But why general people don't? I guess they're just people don't think of it. They're not nervous about it. I don't know. I mean, like I said, if you work here for a week, you'll be so paranoid. I mean, and I know I'm paranoid. It's like the police, the police see crazy stuff on a daily basis. So they have a totally different view of society than we do, or at least I do. And I guess it's like that with travel. My wife and two of my kids were traveling to Panama like a month ago, and I got them travel insurance, obviously, like immediately. I just get very scared about this stuff. I think it's just ignorance, really, that keeps people from doing it.
Wow, that is kind of crazy. I'm going to twist the conversation just for a little bit because you mentioned earlier that
Sure.
that shift from the luxury travel to the insurance side of things. From a business perspective,
Yeah.
what did it take to be able to do that? Was it just a choice that you had, like, oh, this is working, that one's, not so much,
hmm
profitability's here? What made you decide to make that transition, and
Right.
what did it take?
Right. So it's a good question. What happened was I kind of realized that the business model of what we're doing here is really unbeatable. And there's something very special about what we're doing, meaning most businesses, you have to put a lot of money into marketing. And you also have, let's say, either a service or a product that you have to deliver on that can be very expensive. Or there's inventory costs. And like most businesses that you look at are really just very tough to actually eke out profit at the end of the day. When we started doing this, really just for my own clients, the money is crazy. I mean, I was shocked. I mean, I'll give you an example. Let's say you take two, 70-year-olds, okay? They come into my event, or any event or any tour, and let's say the cost is $20,000, okay? Very normal policy would be 10% of trip costs. There's nothing wrong for that age. I'm saying nothing wrong with that. It's quite normal. That's $2,000, okay? If you set this up correctly, I mean, you'd have to make the connections, get the volume. You can get 40% of that straight cash in 5 minutes. I mean, so we were doing this for our own clients, and I was looking at how fast it was and how straight to the money it was. Because I do go on a lot of business podcasts to talk just about business models and things like that.
Mhm.
And that's something that a lot of people, entrepreneurs, they haven't answered this question. Like, how do you actually make money in this business? And what is your competitive advantage? And so this business answered both of those because what we do is unique. There's no one else doing what we do. And in the tour space, we were profitable, but it was capped. It was definitely capped. Here, you're not capped, and the opportunity is unbelievable. So that's why I kind of moved into this.
Right. Well, and to me, it's a win-win-win opportunity for everybody, because I mean, if somebody claims on their trip insurance, that doesn't come out of your pocket, it comes out of the insurance company's pocket, and it's not an excessive amount of profit. So a lot of companies will say, oh, well, we'll just raise prices and that'll increase their profitability, whereas that doesn't really happen here. It's not the way insurance works.
Well, I guess the insurance companies can raise their prices, but that's just industry wide. It's not necessarily us. I mean, we wanted to take it a step further. It's not just trying to sell something and get paid. It's how do we help clients get paid in real life? So now that we bring millions of dollars to these companies, I've worked it out that I have my own dedicated claims analysts in these companies who are dedicated just to our clients. And so I have many reviews, you can go on Google reviews and things like that, where we have clients getting paid many times in 2 days and 7 days. I mean, in the world of travel insurance, this is unheard of. People typically wait 6 months plus to get paid. So we wanted to really tie up all the loose ends and just make it the ultimate experience in terms of buying travel insurance, getting paid, making sure you're protected. And then in the future, anytime you need, we already have your information. We have many people just WhatsApp us, say, hey, it's Bill, I'm going here. And we're like, we have everything. We just click a button, it's done. And he has it. He doesn't have to hassle at all.
So a lot of people don't realize kind of what happens when a claim is made from the insurance side and why it takes 6 months. Can you go into that a little bit and just kind of explain why in a typical company it would do that?
Well, yes, of course. The number one question is, which companies are easy to pay? Which companies are difficult to pay? Some companies in the culture of the company, I'm not going to say names, although obviously I can. Some of them are just impossible to deal with, right? So it's done for profitability, in my opinion, and they may not admit this, but they will always kick the ball down the field. They will always say, well, they like to be vague from the outset, not tell you what you need to do to get paid. Because in your mind, you're like, I've had this claim. You'll send in random stuff that you think you need to send in, and they purposefully are vague and don't tell you what you need so that they can hit you back and say, well, we need this. And you're like, okay, I didn't know that. And then they will make things extra harsh in terms of their just analyzing situations. They'll look into the policy and really try and see, can we exclude this person? And many travel insurance or all insurance companies do that. However, there are some that are really fantastic and they're really easy to pay and they don't have that attitude. And so we foster those relationships because I know every company there is intimately. I know everything that goes on at all these companies. I know many employees at all these companies. And so when we find a company that we love and we foster that relationship, then we get our own dedicated claims analysts in there because we're bringing them so much business. And I can call the analyst immediately. It's not some random person up in the air. I can call my person. They can call the client. 98% of the time, if I connect the client with the claims analyst themselves on the phone, this will be resolved very quickly. And once it's resolved, there's no headaches, there's no problems. They get paid immediately. So that's the plan.
Right, I love it. Has there been any companies that have refused to connect with you?
No, I wouldn't say that.
No,
they all want our business. So we're bringing millions of dollars to these companies. So there's no one that's refused to work with us, but there's many that I will refuse to work with.
Fair enough. We will leave that for the public to go and ask you personally so that we're not having to deal with any of that online. Awesome. Right. So in a moment, I'm going to ask you about a Cinderella story of one of your clients. But before we do that, we're going to take a quick break.
Are you running a business over 7 figures but still struggling with technology headaches? Pay attention, you do not want to miss this offer. This podcast episode is brought to you by Awareness Strategies, who is offering a custom-built digital adoption roadmap for anyone running a business over 7 figures who's wanting to grow their business in the next 5 years. And it's not just a roadmap, they offer full implementation as well if that scares the out of you. Check out awarenessstrategies.com/roadmap for more details today. The link's in the show's notes. Don't regret not doing this. Do it now. That's awarenessstrategies.com/roadmap.
So I am super excited to hear about a Cinderella story of one of your clients.
Okay, so what happened was a client reached out to us, first time client, about a very luxury tour was going on, over $100,000 situation. And our team helped him. He got the policy in his email. A few minutes later, he reaches back out to us and he says, you know what? I see that it's with this certain company. I don't want this policy. I want you to cancel it. And we were like, whoa, what's going on? And then they pulled it over to me and I got involved. And I said, because I don't take all the calls, right? But I got involved. I said, well, if we're giving you a particular option, not only is it the best option for you, but we even know down to the state, meaning you live in, let's say, New York State, we know which companies pay out at the highest rates and all this stuff. So I said, no, this is a fantastic policy, but like, what are you talking about? And he says, well, 6 months ago, I bought a policy from this company without us through some travel agent, I guess he was working with or whatever it was. And he says, I'm still fighting with these guys to get paid, literally 6 months out. This was on a Sunday, okay, literally like 2 weeks ago on a Sunday. And I said, look, even though this is not our policy, you didn't buy it with us, we're not getting any commission, we're not here to help, we can't help you, whatever, if you had a problem on it. But since you're stuck, why don't you send me the information? Let me call our dedicated claims analyst, see what's up. So he sends it over. And this is on Sunday, okay? Monday, I send it into my team. I set up a call with my analyst. I said, can you look at this guy just as a favor to us? He didn't buy this with us. I don't know what's going on. Obviously, I'm not the analyst, so it's not my job to figure out every detail. And all I know is that he sent us a note, a WhatsApp on Tuesday, and he wrote literally, I don't know how you did it, but you did it. And I'm like, what happened? He's like, they just called me. They said they're paying me. So again, I still don't even know exactly what happened. But I know that the power we bring to the table is unheard of in terms of the world of travel insurance. So that's something that just happened that was fantastic. I'll give you another one that I think is very interesting. Yeah. We had a man who was going to Switzerland. Okay, it was also expensive, maybe $12,000 situation. And his flights were delayed. They kept getting pushed back. We all know what that's like. Push back, weather issues. He reaches out. He says, look, I've been delayed for about 8 hours right now. My trip I'm supposed to be in Switzerland for a week. I'm kind of like unsure, I'm just feeling like if I go, I'm going to miss a few days. And this is not how I wanted to start my vacation. He was in a very bad mood. And since we know every policy intimately, we know that the policy he had has a rider in there that if you're delayed due to weather issues for 6 hours or more, you can cancel everything and get 100% of your money back. Okay. Now, if he bought this through a travel insurance, through a travel agent, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. They wouldn't have known that. You have to literally know everything in those 50 pages to know that, which we do. And so we said, fine, let's start a claim with you right now. And he has a review up as well. You can read it. And again, within, I think it was 3 or 4 days, he got a check for his $12,000 back. He didn't have to go on his trip. And we protected him in that way, which he was shocked. He was like, really? I don't have to go? Really? I'll get my money? He couldn't believe it. And we're like, yeah, it's right here. And so this is something that really occurs with us on really a daily basis, dealing with our clients. There's so much power you can bring when you really are experts, in this. And when you're on your own, you're really stuck. And there's no benefit to doing this on your own. We don't add any cost. There's never a reason not to use us. And so that's the basic idea.
I love it. So peeps, I know you all have travel horror stories. Go ahead and put those in the chat. Yeah. Let us know what's been going on with you. But I know that our audience wants to avoid those in the future immensely. How did they start their journey with you?
Sure. So you can either go to traveldefend.com, which is our website, and everything is there. You can purchase online in that way. There's an artificial intelligence algorithm we have that will give you the best policy for your situation artificially. Most people call us. That's really what we do. And so if you like, our concierge team is standing by, 1-800-578-2871. Again, 1-800-578-2871. And we're here ready to help.
I love it. We will, of course, have all of Ben's links in the show notes. So go ahead and scroll down, click on the links, open up in a new browser, because we're not done yet. Or wait 5 seconds and have that phone call after the podcast is done. So Ben, I get to ask you, at what point in life did you know you're especially kind of crazy enough to think that you could become an entrepreneur?
Oh, man, that's a good question. I grew up playing not college, but I grew up playing baseball. I was always a baseball player. After college, I realized I wasn't going to make the major leagues. And so I just had to really, all of a sudden, for the first time in my life, I think I was 21 years old, I never thought about it. I was so focused on baseball. And so I said, do I want to get a job or what do I do? And I went to my friend who was a real business guru, even at that age. And he said, look, let's figure out a way to make you 30 grand. If we can figure that out, then you never have to take a real job ever again. I'm like, 30 grand. I'm like, what the hell is it? Like, I didn't even know what he's talking about. And so at that point, we just started coming up with ideas. And I was like, everything to save myself from quote unquote a real job. And I never had one till this day. I've never had, never been under the thumb of anyone else. And so I've been very blessed in that way. But yeah, you do have to be crazy. It is really scary at times and quite dangerous, but I don't know. It's always worked for me.
Right. And do you mind if I kind of pick your brain a little bit about your business excursions? Because you've had phenomenal successes in a few areas, and I know people would love to emulate that kind of success.
Sure.
What would you say kind of took you from initially when you first passed the 7-figure mark? What would you say it took to be able to do that?
Well, I think that step one is you need to find a competitive advantage. And I think that's what gets lost in translation with many entrepreneurs, because everyone's going to say, work harder, work harder, work hard. It's always about work hard. But if you don't have the right vehicle, you're really not going to get there. Okay. And I think that gets lost with a lot of people. Like my nephew came to me recently and he said, I'm looking to buy a business, which I don't love that concept anyway, but whatever. He's looking to buy a business. And I said, okay, what business is it? He goes, it's a Turkish towel company. And so most people would look at any business. Any business could be successful. You could say, okay, well, what are the numbers? What is, blah, blah, blah. And when I asked him, I said, well, what is their competitive advantage? Why would anyone buy these Turkish towels as opposed to any others? He couldn't answer that question. And so to me, that's a step out question. You must have that answer. If you want to start a pizza shop, maybe it has the location that no one else has, or whatever. There has to be something special. And many people that are stuck is because they really haven't answered that question. So to me, if you have a competitive advantage and then you work hard and you work smart. And what, I think another thing people hate to do is they hate to think, to actually sit and think. It's hard work to think. We want to be on our phones. We want to be looking. We want to be action, work hard, do action. Many times it's more powerful to just sit and think for hours and actually figure out what you're doing. Because I think that also gets lost in translation a lot.
Right. And in business, what was kind of the hardest thing or moment that you had to get through, and how did you get through it?
Well, it was the beginning of starting that tour company. Because in Travel Defend, I'll be honest, and we're very blessed, there really has been no hardships. It's been moving since day one, which is rare. And I know that. And that's why I jumped into it. But in my tour company, when we first started, everyone saw me coming a mile away. I was 22, 23 years old. I remember going to a hotel and they said, what is this for your like school project or something? And I'm like, yeah, we're giving you $250,000 for my school project. I was like, what the hell are you talking about? And I think just that whole experience, the hotel ripped us off, the caterer ripped us off. Everyone saw us coming a mile away. It was the hardest experience probably of my life. The staff wanted to quit. I had to really kind of get everyone together and just start crying in front of them. Please don't leave. Please don't leave. And just, and it was just a horrific experience. And that's when, after that, I said, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to just get a real job, whatever. And then after a few months, you have to be crazy, like a little crazy. And I was like, you know what? I really did learn a lot. Like, I know why it didn't work now, and I know what to do to fix it. And since that second year on, we've always been profitable in the business, but I had to go through tremendous hardships at that time. My family doesn't come from money, by the way. I mean, we did this. I bootstrapped this myself with a friend. That was in the days when you could get a loan from a bank. Like, you literally, I remember we walked in and I didn't know what the hell was going on. I was like, what? And they were just giving us, yeah, fine, sign this, sign that. I mean, I lived with my sister in her basement at the time. I was like, why are they giving me money? I don't know anything. And thank God they did, because I was able to use it and to turn it into something. But yeah, those journeys are tough, but educational for sure.
Well, we are totally stoked that you made it through and you had that turning point, because, well, and I'm sure you are too.
Oh my God. Scary to think about. Yeah.
You've been absolutely awesome. Any last words for our peeps?
Any last words? If you're an entrepreneur and you're struggling, I've been there, and I know I've said it a number of times, find that competitive advantage. Don't be scared to jump to another project or whatever, because many people, they get stuck in their ways. And if something's not working, in most cases, that's really the reason. It's not that you didn't work hard. It's not that you're not smart. It's just you're not in the right vehicle. And so that I think is a big lesson, because I've mentored many people in their business journey, come to me for guidance and thoughts and help. And I find that to be the case almost every time. It's not that the people don't try hard, they're not smart. It's just they're in the wrong vehicle. It's hard to find that vehicle, but you got to push. That's the thinking. That's where the thinking comes in.
I love it. Thank you so much for your time, Ben. I appreciate it, and I know how valuable it is.
Great. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Peeps, this is Michelle Nedelec. Thank you for being here with us today. Be sure to subscribe to the show and share it with your friends. We love helping entrepreneurs grow. Thank you for listening to 7 to 8. If you're interested in upping your speaking game, be sure to connect with our guests with the links in the show notes, and connect with me to see how we can help you get your tech done for you and help your speaking dreams come true.